Well, I guess if the alarm goes off, it'll be a memorable experience. So we're launching or announcing Hyperweb, deploy smart contract at the speed of thought, powered by Cosmology. Can a computer make you cry? In 1982, this question spawned electronic arts, and they coined the term software artist. And my question to everyone today is, can we bring back the artistic craft of code and the joy of programming? I'm Dan Lynch, founder of Cosmology. I've been working in no-code, low-code since 2005, and been using that experience to engineer the developer experience at the Cosmos since 2022, and here to talk about Hyperweb. But one part of my background just might be relevant is I focused a lot on merging design and engineering into a seamless platform, and did this with a lot of enterprise companies, big ones like General Electric and Visa, creative giants like William Morris Endeavor and IDEO, and my last company, Brandcast.com, sold at Time. My whole point is that I want to bring all this to Cosmos. So Hyperweb, what is it? It is end-to-end TypeScript for Web3. You can kind of think about it like the Node.js moment for blockchain. So build and deploy full-stack blockchain applications with TypeScript. Our guiding principles: decrease complexity, increase simplicity, enable less technical people to be more creative, and starting with things that people care about most. And again, I mentioned this in my other talk, I'll mention it again, but we love to solve people problems, not just technology problems. And so what does that mean? Well, the first big gaping problem is that we have a massive shortage of Web3 developers. The ratio is that we have one Web3 developer for every 1,100 developers. The numbers are we have 26,000 active Web3 devs based off the Electric Capital report, and there's about 28.7 million developers in the world. This creates a really tight squeeze on hiring. It's also going to be inhibiting mass adoption. So this is definitely one that we should be looking at. And the way I like to solve problems, especially in software, is by taking an ethnographic approach to design. What this means is you want to observe users in their existing habitat, and if possible, don't ask them to change their behavior, but give them a new superpower with existing behavior. And so in this case, if you were to study developers, you'll find that 67% of developers actually know JavaScript. So we have the potential to increase the developer pool by 800x. That means that Web3 can be massively scaled from the untapped potential of JavaScript. What does this look like? Just to paint a better picture, if you take the population of JavaScript developers, the entire populations of Sweden and Switzerland would be completely full with 1 million or so to spare with JavaScript developers. And if we zoom in on this dot here in Dubai somewhere, we've got a small dot of Web3 developers that can't even fill up half of one of the largest stadiums in Dubai. So JavaScript is the language of the people. It's not just a programming language. It is by far the world's most popular language. And we've been bringing JavaScript to the interchain. So if you remember from before Cosmology, there was this whole class of engineering that had to intermediate between the front end and the back end of wiring all of this front end UI code to blockchains and smart contracts. It created an exponential complexity, the n squared problem with coordination. And after Cosmology, we solved this. However, we wondered, can we go deeper? We didn't hit a wall, we struck a nerve, but it made us question, what if we can go deeper? How much of the blockchain stack can JavaScript consume? And so after Hyperweb, now we want to go not only the UI and minimize the coordination between blockchains and smart contracts, but let's give developers that know JavaScript the ability to actually start building these smart contracts, not just building decentralized applications on top of existing ones. And previously, the CTL CTO level skill set was required. You had to know Rust and Go and JavaScript and the ability to actually build these JavaScript SDKs, which takes a certain type of skill set. That extremely inhibits hiring. So now, all they need to know is JavaScript. So the talent pool can be massively increased, and you only need to know JavaScript now for both dApp and smart contract development. The results of our low-code approach, well, let's check it out. We are actually currently powering Web 2, Web 3, and AI. People might not know this about Cosmology, but the parent company is actually Interweb Inc. Our two trademarks are Cosmology and LaunchQL. We have about 30 million downloads right now, actually over 30 million downloads, over 2.5 million downloads per month, and nearly 600,000 downloads per week. And we're powering over 1.5 million databases right now. This is actually in Web 2. Every Supabase database, every NeonDB is using our transpilers, as well as tooling for CodeGen and for things like detecting SQL injection. We have over 11.5 million downloads, and I thought I might bring this up because most people just know us as Cosmology, but we have a lot of other tooling under our belt. And for Cosmology, we're powering over 150 plus Cosmos chains, 18 million plus downloads. There's some logos missing here. The slide seemingly got messed up, but we're powering a lot of the top multi-billion-dollar market cap giants like Celestia, DYDX, Osmosis, and have become the standard tooling for the Interchain Foundation. And what we learned in building in Web3 was, through the different generations. We have the first generation of blockchain was digital, then it was programmable in the second generation, and Cosmos solved the third generation of blockchain was interoperability to allow these disparate blockchains to communicate with each other. Well, the problem that we found was that Web3 and Web 2, they were still disparate and isolated. There's this war between Web 2 and Web 3. And so we believe that the next generation of the web will be the integrated web, where we can make the web whole again. So this brings us to the Hyperweb, end-to-end TypeScript for Web 3. And we'll have on-chain TypeScript smart contracts. Every smart contract will have a UI. And that's because of the isomorphism between the way that we'll define state. There won't be any schemas because we're going to have on-chain TypeScript interfaces. And additionally, because we already have, powered by LaunchQL, all of the transpilers for generating database software, and we have our Cosmology tooling for working with smart contracts, and then other Cosmos SDK tooling, we will have automated indexers for state and scale. So one note, of course, you can do whatever you want on our chain. It will be permissionless, but please build real products, not just another perp or DEX. And again, our goal is to integrate Web 2 and Web 3 to solidify the CAP theorem. We can chat more about that if you're interested. But an awesome point, and by the way, I'm really pumped about Hydro. Definitely think that Hyperweb should get involved there. But we are going to be integrating with the Cosmos Hub Interchain Security. So we will be an L1 powered by the Interchain Security, and we will have very robust economic security on day one. And that will also give us economic ecosystem alignment with the Cosmos ecosystem, and also will be contributing to the utility for Atom. Woo! So, and you can try today. Hyperweb is available today. We've got our local net powered by Starship, 100% TypeScript boilerplate, and it's already integrated with CI/CD. We want to give developers, put them off on the foot right out of the gates with best practices. So it'll work in GitHub Actions out of the gate, and you can write smart contracts, UI, all of your tests. Everything is in TypeScript. So TypeScript smart contracts on chain, integrated UI and client-side tooling, and opening Web 3 to millions of developers. So that is Hyperweb. Join the movement.